learn to listen. Very, very alert. Right now, when you listen, okay, when you listen total alertness, what is happening? You are in your natural self. Big deal. That's it. As a matter of fact, you feel good, you feel love right now. It's natural. But the moment you think about it, no, it's got to be more than that. Oh, it's got to be higher, it's got to be something else. You see? And it is that thinking that blocks us from the very state of purity, of divinity. You see? And then that is the whole point. Let's go back to another question. I get scared of losing my individuality. Do we really lose anything in our natural self? Feel it out, please. You can listen to it, because right now, as we are in this context of listening, that's the beautiful thing about Satsang, you see. It elevates your awareness. Some people have said, during Satsang I feel very clear, then I go out and I forget everything. Of course you forget everything. You're meant to forget it. Because this is not information. This is your inner state. This is your inner being. And as you awaken it each time in Satsang, you don't have to remember it. It becomes you in your expression. It's your natural state. So,
you just lose your self-consciousness.
You
just lose your self-consciousness.
You lose your self-consciousness. So why are we afraid of that? You see, this question was, I get scared of losing my individuality.
Because your whole life is based on who you think you're not, right?
Very good. Your whole life is based on that. And we're even afraid of losing our misery, our suffering, the way we think things are. You see? So you actually don't really lose anything. You gain peace. You gain understanding.
Whenever you are in a state of being, which happens to all of us from time to time at least, for snatches of time,
right?
It's not an issue. None of that is any kind of an issue when you're actually there.
When you're actually there,
it doesn't arise.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't arise at all. Yeah. In that moment of love, in that moment of happiness, you just feel good. You see? And then you go back to your misery or worry. Oh, I've got rent to pay. Oh, I'm going to lose my job, or I'm getting short of money, and then boom, you go into your frenzy. And you retract and go back and contract again. You see? And then we think, oh, but this is real. This is real. The world is real. Okay, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that anything is real or unreal. This is for us to find out, each one of us. But when you begin to see that everything is just energy, everything is energy, including the money that we think is so real. After all, it's just paper in your hand, right? Which is a symbol of certain energy. So when you begin to see things as they actually are, and you begin to trust, I cannot tell you how. I don't know. I really don't know. But the rent will be paid. Your problem will be solved. And we don't know how, when you trust. But if you worry, you block that alert listening. You see? And when you block the listening, there can be no solution to, quote, the problem. Because if you lose your alert listening, you lose yourself. And we call that anxiety, suffering, pain, whatever it is. So always be alert and listen. And there's only now. And everything is perfect right now. Even the imperfection. You see? Because then, when you see the human for what it is, which is, like Einstein said, it's insanity, the human part, really, and the things that it does and contradicts itself, because it's all resisting, all the time resisting the being, the human. When you are in your being, you even enjoy that part, because it doesn't matter. You see? It simply doesn't matter anymore. And when it doesn't matter, the human and the being become one. That is the beauty, you see.
So don't try and
That's
figure anything
surrender.
out.
Was that?
So don't try and figure anything out at all.
No. Never try.
Just let
There's
it
nothing
go.
to figure.
Let it go, and
Let
then
it
the
go.
answer just comes without trying to.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Always be alert listening. Alert means you're here. You're just here. And listen. Just like when I ask you, what is it that you really want? And if you're totally honest, what is it that I want? All I know is myself. And I want me. And that's the truth. But that's beautiful, you see, when you realize it. Because the moment you say, I am me, and then you're able to look at that, the moment you look at that, it takes you deeper, automatically. And as it takes you deeper and deeper and deeper, you realize everybody is selfish. It's a natural part of living, you see? And it is only through accepting that selfishness that we become unselfish. But as long as you judge it wrong, see, how do we, for example, bringing up children? The moment the child is told, this is wrong, you have taught child how to feel guilty. You see? Now, what is the greatest damage? What is the greatest block to your natural self? It is guilt. I remember the Course in Miracles was very beautiful about this, so clear. It is guilt. Many years ago I was fascinated with the criminal mind, and I wanted to study what makes criminals, you see. And I found one thing they all had in common: guilt. Guilt always repeats, just like crazy glue. Always sticks with you. And then you want to project it. And then you want to get rid of it. So if you're hurting, you want to hurt somebody else. You see? If you don't feel adequate, you want to make other people not feel adequate. So you complain about other people. You find things wrong with other people. If you don't feel worthy, you get jealous of other people. You see how it comes? But if you stop and look in alert listening, you will see how you are coming from a place of limitation. And you're imposing that limitation because there is guilt in you. But guilt, when looked at for what it is, you see that in your natural state you're totally guiltless. You're totally pure. That's your natural state. And natural means who you really are. So whenever you're angry, whenever you're upset, whenever you're depressed, you're not being you at that moment. You are being your thoughts, your past. Yeah.
Burt, I've kind of, in my mind, had always kind of separated guilt and shame, because it seemed to me,
they're very
as
similar.
I listen to what you say, it feels like shame to me.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, guilt is something that you can acknowledge and do something about. Say, okay, well, that was something that was wrong. I offended someone, so that would be a good awareness to have, so that you didn't repeat it. But the shame seems to be that thing that just won't leave. It's like you can't make up for it. It just stays and stays and stays, no matter how you try to remedy it.
And you know how many people feel shame?
Everyone.
Yeah. Until you wake up to your natural self, there is shame in everyone. There is a feeling of inadequacy, of unworthiness, which is a form of shame.
Not feeling good enough.
Not feeling good enough. That is correct. Yes. Yeah. So how do we deal with shame? How do we look at shame?
Just look at it. With
Okay.
the story, and don't associate the past with where it came from.
Yeah. Okay.
There's no guilt or shame in the now.
Yeah, that's true. There's no guilt or shame in the now. That's beautiful. In the now there is no shame. Did you know that? Shame is always unconscious, lagging, nagging.
Past memory.
It's past memory. But in the now, you just are.